Before we start the video, this video is not made for kids. It's for older fans of the show and adults only. So shut the fuck up before the monster comes and... Oh shit! Shit! I'm fucking getting out of here! The Märklin and the monster. It is not known where it came from. Either it was an experiment gone wrong at True Works, or research at the Derby Railway Technical Centre. Either way, this horrific, one-eyed abomination had found its way onto Sodor. The next morning, at the Fat Controller's office, he was waiting for the general manager of the Vicarstown Building Society to discuss financial matters among other things when the station master came in. "Excuse me, sir," he said, "we have evidence of this engine on the island." "What engine?" demanded the Fat Controller. "This thing here. It appears to be a monstrosity. Look, it's only got one eye." "Good grief," said the Fat Controller. "I'm meant to be waiting for the manager of the Vicarstown Building Society. I will look into it as soon as I can. Just keep an eye out for that thing, and we will see to it when we can." The station master left. Meanwhile, at the smelters, Arry and Bert were busy with their work when they heard the ominous cackling of the monster around the scrappy Boy, what the bloody hell's this thing here? Don't ask me. I haven't seen anything. Crikey! It has... cripes! Arry and Bert went to confront the monster. "Oi! Bugger off, will ya? You're scaring the piss out of us and the workers!" The monster growled at Arry and Bert, making them run away. Arry and Bert continued their work while the monster loitered around the smelters for much of the day, wanting to take up residence there while it was on the island. At Hawin Lake that night, Wolfgang was taking a goods train. The last mountain flyer had finished, so he was taking a goods train from Kirkronan when suddenly the monster passed by. Gott in Himmel! Was war das? Then...
Siefer, Zwangsbremsung.
Lokführer?
Zwangsbremsung.
Lokführer?
Zwangsbremsung. Zwangsbremsung.
Lokführer? Was ist los? Ich weiß nicht. Was war dieser Gräuel? Mir ist übel. Ein Augenblick bitte, Wolfgang. Wolfgang winced as his driver threw up. Then, they heard a voice from a shed next to the line.
Hallo? Hallo? Sprechen Sie Deutsch?
Ja, warum? Mein Lokführer übel ist.
Wie schön.
Nicht mehr. Ich fühle mich besser. Aber wer ist das? Wolfgang's driver broke down the old wooden door of the shed, and it revealed an old German engine sitting in it. Oida! The engine was called Hans, and he had previously worked on the Northwestern Railway in its early years. Having been loaned to the Vat Controller's grandfather from Germany, he had been locked in the shed since World War II. Hans could no longer speak a word of English like he used to. He explained his story to Wolfgang and his driver. Ich will zurück zu Deutschland gehen. Oida. Wir versuchen, zu Sie helfen werde. Eine Frage. Bist du Österreicher? Ja, ich komme aus Wien, oder? Wolfgang left, leaving Hans looking on sadly. The next morning, Wolfgang's driver went to speak to the Vat Controller. So, Georg, you're saying that there's a German-speaking engine up by Hawin Lake? Yes, his name is Hans. He can't remember how to speak English. He hasn't been moved for years. Do you know anything about him? Well, my primary concern is this awful abomination that has been on our railway. Oida! I saw it last night, and it made me throw up in Wolfgang's cab. I will look into the records of my grandfather with my archivist Lawrence. Georg, I will speak to you once I have more information about him. Wolfgang's driver left. Meanwhile, at the smelters, the monster was still lurking around, drawing the ire of Arry and Bert. Oi, you! Are you gonna be helping us with our work, or are you just gonna loiter? We could do with a hand with all this scrap to melt, you know. Are you not getting off your bum to do some work? You're not meant to be freeloading on a hospitality. You're not even meant to be here, you whack job. Shit! We better get on with our work. That night, the monster was out on the Peel Godred line, looking for his prey, which was Hans. Hans was cold and miserable, not knowing what his fate would be. Then, the monster appeared and began to intimidate Hans. Was? Was willst du? Ich... Hilfe! Nicht mehr weh! Hilfe! The monster roared and had. Geh weg! Bitte! Weg von mir! The monster continued until Shen Valley rolled by with the goods train. That's enough! Out of the way! Shen Valley banged the monster, forcing it to flee. Are you okay? Entschuldigung? I asked, are you okay? Ich verstehe nicht. Sorry, I don't understand. Tut mir leid. Ich habe vergessen, wie Englisch zu sprechen. This is the engine that Wolfgang was on about. I better tell him. Next morning, as Wolfgang arrived at Kirkbrunn, the mountain flyer from Peel Godred, the station master was waiting for Wolfgang's driver. Georg, the Vat Controller wants to speak with you. Wolfgang's driver climbed down and headed for the Vat Controller, who was waiting in the waiting room. I have more information in regards to Hans. Yes? My grandfather originally brought Hans to Sodor on loan as an extra engine from Deutsche Reichsbahn during the days of the Weimar Republic, as extra power was needed on the Northwestern Railway. He worked fine for a few years, but then, after things took a turn for the worse in Germany, they began to demand him back and declared his loan to us invalid. During World War II, he was hidden away in a shed, so that in the event of a German invasion of the island, he would not be taken back and used for the German war effort, or even confiscated from us. And why did he not go back to Germany after the war? Put it simply, a political situation in Germany afterward. My grandfather refused to deal with communist East Germany, especially after the Berlin blockade. He tried with West Germany, but Deutsche Bundesbahn weren't interested, as they saw it as a pre-war arrangement, and they basically wanted to wipe the slate clean of the previous two regimes. So Hans has just been left in the shed for years. But he says he wants to go back to Germany. I am aware. I have a plan. Now go and prepare the mountain flyer for departure. I will speak to you this evening. That evening, at the depot, the Fat Controller laid out his plan to the Peel Godred Engines and their drivers. Gentlemen, plus Mary and Louise, we will put this plan into operation tonight. The signals will be disabled, so drive according to your own judgment and what your engine tells you. He's right. We must do this while we have the chance, then Hans can at long last go back to his homeland. The engines all cheered at Wolfgang, his driver, and the Fat Controller. But, unbeknownst to them, the monster was listening behind the shed. It sidled quietly away, plotting its next move. That night, Hans was again sitting lonely, and some workmen came over to oil him. Was tun Sie? But the workman couldn't understand a word that Hans was trying to say. Then, one workman radioed, Traumann to Georg. Can you hear me? Over. Georg to Traumann. Loud and clear. Come in. Over. He's ready. All oiled up. Over. Wilco Traumann. We are coming as fast as we can. Over. Roger. Traumann out. Wolfgang? Ist bereit. Jawohl. Hans didn't know what was going on. He looked out nervously for the monster, but then he heard a horn. Wolfgang appeared. Komm mit mir, wenn du leben willst. Hans said nothing else, as a rope was fixed to him, and Wolfgang's driver invoked the Lord's Prayer. Vater unser im Himmel, geheiligt werde dein Name, dein Reich komme, dein Wille geschehe, wie im Himmel, so auf Erden. Unser täglicher Brot gib uns heute und vergib uns unsere Schuld, wie auch wir vergeben unsere Schuldigen. Und führe uns nicht in Versuchung, sondern erlöse uns von dem Bösen. Denn dein ist das Reich und die Kraft und die Ehrlichkeit in Ewigkeit. Amen. Then he opened the throttle, and Wolfgang pulled Hans out from the shed before offering up to him. Then the monster's horn was heard in the distance. Los! Ja! Wolfgang then took off with the monster in hot pursuit. They then passed Andy and Steve. The monster is after us! Get him! Andy and Steve both set off after the monster. Other engines set off after the monster until finally Abby got in front of the monster, put her brakes on, and captured it. The monster was now neutralized. It couldn't move any further. when the monster was brought down to Kildare, Donald and Douglas then took it over to the mainland to be dealt with. The Peel Godred engines then gathered, where the Fat Controller spoke to them. "That was a very fine piece of work," he said. "Well done to you all. In regards to Hans, he has just been purchased by a businessman from Koblenz, and he will be restored at Crovens Gates Works before being shipped to Germany to work heritage railways across the country." Wolfgang then translated the Fat Controller's words to Hans. "Danke! Danke schön! Und Wolfgang, ich danke ihm. Du hast mich gerettet." "Oh, bitte schön. Es war nichts." On the mainland the next day, the monster was to be blown up with dynamite, and people lined up to witness the spectacle of its destruction. "Alright, dynamite's ready. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hans was restored at Crovens Gate. Before being loaded up at Brentham docks on a ship bound for Germany. He now works on heritage railways across Germany and is very happy to be back home in Germany at long last. Auf Wiedersehen, Hans.